We are delighted to have Weird Al Yankovic with us this week. Being humans who have ever laughed, all of us at Wits are fans of his work. But there are a lot of moments in the career of Weird Al Yankovic that may merit some additional explanation. Thus, it is time for Weird Al, Please Explain.
Uh-oh. What?
Weird Al, please explain. Please explain. Weird Al, please explain.
Wow, I feel obligated now.
Now you have to. First up, let's listen to a very early recording.
Ooh, a little hungry one, open up a package of my bologna. Ooh, I think the toast is done, top it with a little of my bologna. Never gonna stop eating.
My Bologna.
Yes.
How-
Yep.
How did this come to be? Weird Al, please explain.
My early obsession with lunch meat. I was pretty food obsessed in the early 80s. I must have been a starving artist, so it was that way. And I listened to that recording. That was actually the re-recording of My Bologna. The first version, which was released as a single on Capitol Records, was famously recorded in the bathroom across the hall from my college campus radio station, which had that nice warm reverb wall of sound in the bathroom effect.
Sure, a lot of echo.
And that one was recorded, it still bugs me, it was recorded so fast, the tempo is so fast, and that's because we had like only a couple hours to record the whole album because it was done on spec. And it was like, and we were in such a hurry, we'd get done and go, that was a bit fast, but let's move on to something else. We gotta.
Well, what makes a guy, a college student at a college radio station, decide to go into a bathroom and have an accordion and record a song about Bologna?
It seemed like a good idea at the time. I should say, since we're talking about how the music industry works, Capitol Records paid me $500 flat for the master of My Bologna, plus the B-side, which was also recorded in the same bathroom. And I thought, oh, great, $500. And I paid a lawyer $75 to look over the contract, and he goes, yeah, sure, fine, go ahead, sign it. And here's the fun part. When I re-recorded the song for that version on my first record deal, Capitol Records charged me $1,000 for the right to re-record the song.
Wow. That was a good record
And that's how the
deal.
music industry works.
Yeah. Well, let's go a little bit further into the Weird Al catalog. It's hard to bargle noddle zouse with all these marbles in my mouth. You parody unintelligible lyrics while staying intelligible. Weird Al, please explain.
Well, if I made them more unintelligible, that would be mocking them. I don't want to mock anybody. That particular line is the only line I've ever written in my sleep. This is true. I woke up out of a dead sleep and just turned over and wrote the words in my notebook. It's hard to bargle noddle zouth with all these marbles in my mouth. I thought, this will mean something someday. This is important.
Was it easy to get Nirvana to sign off on letting you do this?
Well, normally my manager will talk to their representatives and sign off, and my manager said they're not returning my phone calls, they're being very unresponsive. If you want this, it's on you. And that happens pretty rarely, but when it does, it means, okay, I've got to become a stalker, essentially. And I found out that Nirvana was playing Saturday Night Live for the first time. And I had a friend at SNL, and she put me in contact with Kurt, who was in the dressing room. And I was on the phone with Kurt, and I said, hey, Kurt, it's Weird Al Yankovic, and I would love to do a parody of Smells Like Teen Spirit. And he goes, oh, okay, yeah, okay, cool. Is it going to be a song about food? Because I guess I'd had a rep by that time of being the food song guy. And I said, well, no, actually, it's a song about how nobody can understand your lyrics. And there was a brief pause, and he went, yeah, okay, that's funny.
Now let's step away from music for just a moment, and let's go all the way to the silver screen.
Don't change the channel, don't touch that dial. We got it all on UHF. Kick out the
Weird Al, please explain, especially for younger audiences, what the movie UHF is.
Okay. Oh. Well, kiddies, first of all, UHF stands for ultra high frequency, which is a bit of an anachronism these days. I don't even think that bandwidth exists anymore
Not sure it
in the
does.
real world.
Yeah.
Even when the movie was made in the late 80s, it was pretty old school. But when I was growing up as a child, the UHF stations basically were the PBS station, the Spanish-speaking stations, and the weird local stations that nobody watched, but they were fascinating because they were just very strange.
Barely held together.
Exactly. And that was inspirational to me. So the movie was about one such UHF TV station that put on programming that was so bizarre that against all odds it became extremely popular and attracted the attention and ire of the local network affiliate. So that's the basic plot premise for UHF.
And it has lived on. Is it safe to call it a cult classic?
Yeah, I wish it were a blockbuster, but let's call it a cult classic.
We'll go with what we got. Now, here's a very recent recording.
Say you got an IT, followed by your constancy. Yes, now what does that mean?
You would not use this in this case as a possessive. It's a contraction. What's a contraction?
Well, it's the shortening of a word or group of words by omission of a singular letter.
Weird Al. Weird Al, please explain just how much grammar game you have, because I think it's a lot. I work in public radio, and I know grammar enthusiasm.
Well, grammar is important to me. It means a lot to me. When somebody tweets at me, "You're an idiot," and spell it Y-O-U-R, that bothers. If you're going to insult me, get the apostrophe in the right place. Absolutely.
Are you fussy about grammar? Do you correct people in daily life?
I do. I get press releases for my approval from the record label, and it's like, okay, well, that's the cover of my book. Spell weird right for one thing, and then it really bothers. I'm not as obsessive as the character in the song.
Song.
For the sake of humor, I exaggerate it, and I've been taken to task for this. It's like I don't really think that somebody that uses bad grammar should be hit on the head with a crowbar.
With a crowbar.
The knees at best. Go for the knees. I'm not a monster. Come on.
You mentioned Twitter. You had the best comeback on Twitter I think I've ever seen. Somebody tweeted at you, "I didn't know you were still alive," and you tweeted back, "I never knew you were alive." That's just all time. That's just brilliant. Weird Al Yankovic, everybody.